GERD. A crack appears at its base. Stay with me because this is not a political dispute. It is a physics problem, starting now. 74 billion cubic meters of water have been released. That is twice the volume of Lake Mead, the largest reservoir in the United States. At hour 6, the Rosaires Dam in Sudan disintegrates. At hour 11, the city of Khartoum is submerged. The entire Nile Valley is now on a countdown. For a decade, the world watched 3 nations argue over water flow. They were asking the wrong question. The question was not who controlled the tap. The question was, what happens when the tank itself fails? That just happened. To understand the collapse, you must first understand the system. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam was the engine of a nation, a 145-meter-tall concrete wall. Its purpose was to generate over 6.4 gigawatts of electricity, doubling Ethiopia's power. Let's talk about the water. The reservoir holds 74 billion cubic meters, a water mass of 74 billion tons. This is not a lake. It is potential kinetic energy stored behind a single point of failure. The structure is a roller-compacted concrete gravity dam designed to hold by its own weight. But this weight is pitted against the hydrostatic pressure of a 74 billion-ton weapon. When the breach occurs, the dam's own mass becomes irrelevant. Let's talk about the cascade. At hour 0, the wall of water begins moving. Its first downstream target is the Rosaires Dam in Sudan, just 100 kilometers away. Rosaires is a buttress dam, not a gravity dam. It was never designed to withstand this kind of flood pulse. The failure of Rosaires adds its own 7.4 billion cubic meters of water to the wave. The wave is now amplified, compounded. The integration that makes the system work is the integration that makes it fail catastrophically. Let's talk about Khartoum. The confluence of the 2 rivers acts as a natural bottleneck. At hour 11, the amplified wave arrives. Models show an inundation of over 80% of the city. Water levels rise by 15 meters, the height of a 5-story building. The international airport, gone. The bridges, gone. The power grid and water treatment plants, gone. For 6 million people, a humanitarian crisis begins. But the wave does not stop. The next node is the Merowe Dam, 650 kilometers downstream. Merowe is a rock-filled dam, a different design from the first 2. But it is designed to be overtopped by water, not eroded by a high-velocity slurry of debris. At hour 20, it is breached. Another 12.5 billion cubic meters are added to the flood. Sudan's internal dam system has ceased to exist. The state of Sudan has effectively collapsed. Let's talk about the precedent. The 1975 Banqiao Dam failure in China. A series of dams failed in a cascade, just like this. It killed an estimated 171,000 people. The GERD cascade has a potential impact an order of magnitude larger. The wreckage is real. What destroyed them is the physics of the cascade. Let's talk about the final backstop. Egypt's Aswan High Dam, over 2,000 kilometers from the initial breach. Its reservoir, Lake Nasser, is vast, holding 162 billion cubic meters. But its spillways were designed for seasonal floods, not a single catastrophic wave of nearly 100 BCM. Egyptian authorities have approximately 72 hours from the breach to prepare. Their only option is to open the spillways to maximum and pray. The survival of 100 million people now depends on the integrity of this single wall. If it holds, Egypt is crippled by the refugee crisis from Sudan. If it fails, 95% of Egypt's population is displaced or killed. There was no military vocabulary to contain this kind of national extinction. Let's talk about the global shock. Egypt is one of the world's largest wheat importers. The crisis guarantees the closure of the Suez Canal. Commodity and shipping markets enter freefall. The collapse of one dam has fractured the circulatory system of the global economy. Let's talk about attribution. It does not matter what caused the failure. Not a geological event, not an engineering flaw, not sabotage. The surviving governments of Egypt and Sudan will attribute the collapse to Ethiopia. The event becomes a casus belli, a reason for war. The theory of water wars becomes reality. A crippled but vengeful region seeks retribution. From this morning forward, the architecture of development has been exposed. It means mega projects are also mega liabilities. It means a nation's engine for growth can be a weapon aimed at its neighbors. The dam did not need to be attacked. It only needed to fail. The river itself became the delivery system for a weapon that was never armed. From this morning forward, the calculus of survival has changed. It means the distinction between infrastructure and military capability has collapsed. It means that for 150 million people, security is no longer guaranteed by armies, but by engineers. And that trust is now gone. From this morning forward, we must analyze the physics of failure, not the language of diplomacy. The specific human reality is that numbers contain but do not convey the loss. The system that was supposed to lift a nation up has drowned 2 others. The weapon was in situ, waiting for a single crack. The Nile, it is collapsing.